So with all the new Silent Hill video game trailers that are coming out and gameplay trailers, I thought it'd be a good idea to revisit my movie review that I made back in 2014 for Silent Hill, the movie. This is my actual copy that I bought from my local grocery store that had a video store in it when I worked there, back when I was, I think, 16 years old. If any of you have never seen the video, it's very, very old. It was on my very first YouTube channel that was actually taken down by the blanket copyright system after Google got involved. But the funny thing is about this movie review, before we actually get into it, is this movie, this video that I did, was one of the most troublesome that I had ever made on my channel. It was constantly getting video striked, constantly getting copyright claimed, over and over and over. It would be a false copyright claim would come onto my video. I fight the claim, the fake company would not release it, and if you remember how old YouTube copyright claims used to work, YouTube wouldn't do anything about it. I'm sure it's probably still that way today, but the videos would just sit in limbo, and eventually, I think after a month or two, the claim would drop off, and I'm not kidding you, within 48 hours, the same company would just start a whole new claim over again. And I fought that for like 6-7 months. So, I'm just gonna have footage of my actual movie review up and playing while I sit here and talk. It's gonna be on mute, obviously, because I'm sure the copyright claim system hasn't gotten any better, and I'm sure somebody will try to claim the video and say it's theirs. So when it comes to my original review for the movie, I should preface this with some context. When I first started on YouTube, when I was reviewing game really early on, like reviewing Nintendo 64 games and PlayStation 1 games and horror games that were very obscure, and doing horror movie video game reviews, which was back in 2013, not many people were doing them. The reason why I did this was because at the time I was trying to get hired on at a video game website. I think it was IGN at the time, because they said to me that if I wanted to work there, no matter how much writing I ever did, video platforming, just to show that you could have experience talking in front of a camera or make credible reviews, was a thing. So that's what I started doing. Obviously I never got hired at IGN, which is probably a good thing at this point. I think I probably would have been booted. They would have booted my ass right out of the door after Alien Colonial Marines came out, and I lost my fucking mind for a second. So why do I put that in context? Because when you watch the old review, it stands up. It's a very critical piece. I set myself aside, my fandom aside from Silent Hill, and made a very open and honest and fair review of the film. The movie itself, I think, and I've watched it many times since this came out and since my old video, I still think this is one of the best horror video game movies ever made. As far as keeping up with the aesthetic and atmosphere it's trying to present, this movie is fucking almost nearly dead on. There are plot points that are weird in the movie. For one, the biggest one is probably the reason, Pyramid Head even existing in that movie, when James is not in the film, not mentioned in the film. We all know, if you've played Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head is very specific to James, his character himself. I'm not going to say why, in case anyone's never played Silent Hill 2 or they're waiting till the remake comes out. But having Pyramid Head in the film, a strange choice. And he looked really crazy looking. Like, we know Pyramid Head how he's normally supposed to look, and this one he was like fucking jacked. He looked like Kratos with an apron on and the Pyramid Head helmet. He was fucking jacked as fuck. Now, there was really cool scenes in the movie, like when he grabs that girl's chest and just like skins her and throws it against the church. I thought that part was fucking rad. The plot, the main plot, the Sutherlands, I think is what their name is in the movie, I can't remember, adopt a little girl. The little girl has dreams about Silent Hill and keeps sleepwalking and mentioning it over and over again. So the mom, Rose, decides to lie to her husband and take the little girl all the way to Silent Hill to see if she can get an answer, even though she's done all the research and knows that the town is, for a lack of terms, fucked. It's completely fucked because of the coal fires that are burning underneath. It's toxic. Every fume you breathe in the town is killing you, basically. But Rose is not going to take that lying down. She's going to go. And her husband doesn't know about this. So she gets to the town, more like crashes her fucking car and wakes up in Silent Hill. The actual story of following her is obviously the story from Silent Hill, the very first game. The actress that they got to play Sybil Bennett, the cop character, was fucking spot on. The only other character I've ever seen in a horror video game movie that's ever looked as identical as the actress that played Sybil Bennett was the actress that played Jill Valentine in Resident Evil Apocalypse. Those are the only two I've ever seen that look identical to their video game counterpart and play them perfectly, like with perfection, chef's kiss perfection. Because if you ever played Silent Hill, I mean, Sybil Bennett was a fucking badass character, one of the most memorable characters from the first game. So obviously the movie takes liberties, but it doesn't take liberties in a way where it makes it dumb. The thing I want to make sure I also preface is because this was the early 2000s, video game movies were not treated very well. If you look back through video game movie history, video game movies have kind of had a really rough, beyond rough time. I mean, the Mario Brothers movie, the Dead Rising movie, God, there's so many more. But anyway, they've had a really bad reputation. Silent Hill was fucking great, and when you rewatch it, it really, really, really holds up, and it is true to the franchise. So a lot of the comments I used to get on the video, because I was trying to take reviewing not as trying to be a content creator, I was doing this so I could try to get a job. So I'm going about it as unbiased, most journalistic possibilities that I could. I mean, it's what I went to college for, was journalism. So I tried to take it in the most even-keeled way that I could, even though I love the fucking franchise. Ones would say biased. I've heard that many times, especially after this Alien Romulus review, that some people are losing their fucking shit over for some reason, over an opinion. But whatever, I don't care. It makes me laugh seeing people like get so mad about some random dude on the internet's opinion. I mean, that really has been the way of the internet since I was on the internet, back when like MySpace blogs were a thing. But because the new Silent Hill game is coming out, and I will be buying it after watching that story and reacting to that story trailer. I know a lot of you want to see me react to the gameplay trailer, which I will do. I just think it would be really good to like revisit the film. If anyone hasn't seen it in a long time, or wasn't aware, or never saw it, you need to watch it, especially if you played the games. If you played the games, you're going to be in for an entertaining time the entire time of the movie. Not one part of it is slow. Not one part of it feels like forced or stupid, or they tried to like completely change the universe into some sort of, I don't know, Force Awakens, Alien Covenant type of deal. It's really good. I feel the reason that I need to bring it up is because the reason I bring it up is because I feel like nowadays I don't hear many people talk about the movie anymore. It was a hot subject like maybe 6 or 7 years ago when it seemed like Silent Hill 2, especially after when PT got canceled, it seemed like Silent Hill 2 all of a sudden out of nowhere became like huge on social media. You're seeing all these new players that have never played Silent Hill before make all these videos, these huge content creators make all these videos, and every time you see Silent Hill 2 pop up, it's like trending for days. And it warms my heart to find more people actually checking out old horror games in modern time, especially because of how well they were written and how it's not just about the scares, it's about the deep psychological pain that you can watch one character go through and you feel it the entire time. The atmosphere is so fucking thick that you'd have to have the fucking berserk greatsword to fucking cut through it. Another thing that I thought was really well done is that the music is obviously spot on with the film and the video games. If it wasn't, and they tried to do like some dramatic new type of themes that are not related to Silent Hill, it wouldn't hit as hard, some of the parts, especially the parts where there is no music. Those are the parts always within the games that are the fucking creepiest and most disturbing within the game franchise. The music's great, but when there's no music and your character is going down these hallways with these fucking fucked up angles going all the way around and shit like that, which they do actually do in the movie, they do them in the movie. And that's much appreciated. Another thing that I really think is important is none of the characters feel contrived. They all establish like a reason why they're there. We know the reason why. If you played the games, we know that everyone that ends up in Silent Hill, the version of Silent Hill that Rose is stuck in, not the version her husband is in through the movie, are there for reasons. And they're there for reasons that are, without trying to be spoiler-ish, they're there for bad reasons. I already know someone's gonna fucking clip that part and put it in the fucking time stamp in the comment section, whatever. But if you are looking for a horror movie that you haven't seen in a long time or never saw before, this film kicks ass. It really does. It keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. The pain and suffering, the drama, and the fear is very, very real feeling. They don't feel like video game characters, which I think is a good thing. Because if it went too far with just like old Resident Evil video games, if it went too far into the cheese, it's not gonna come off well on camera. I mean, if they had a Resident Evil movie and they couldn't pull off the Jill Sandwich quote without it sounding and looking ridiculous out of nowhere, I don't think it would land very well. I do think, if you were to ask me on my fan-based opinion how much I love this movie and I love the franchise, I would give it a solid 9. It really is that good. It's a really, really good horror video game movie, if not the best one. Resident Evil was a good attempt for a first film. I reviewed all those, by the way. If you want to check those out, they're on the channel. I reviewed every single Resident Evil movie. But the problem with the first Resident Evil movie, is it completely changed everything. pretty much. And also invented a lot of new characters that never existed. I mean, Alice is a whatever. I already covered all that in the movie reviews. But in this, the addition of Rose doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel stupid. The character herself, the actress, that's what I'm saying. Every actor in this movie is fucking great. They're fucking spot on, and they all fit. Even though Rose is made up, she feels like she fits perfectly within the universe of Silent Hill. And that's hard to do when you're making new characters of something that's already super established. And I appreciate that the movie was made then, because I feel like after, when we saw Silent Hill, the movie sequel, it was so awful, so bad. But if it was made now, I feel like it would not be able to be done as good as this, because back then you saw a lot of more creative liberties taken to actually make something that was well written. As shitty as that sounds, there are good, well written movies that come out in modern times. I know people in the comment section like to write that but that's not what I'm saying. I think that this movie would not be as good today as if it was coming out back then. Now, the new movie, I know that they're making another one, and it's supposed to be this movie, or Silent Hill 2 specifically. When you go as far as specifics and trying to make something that's an actual specific title in the franchise, then you got to be careful, because now you're setting up expectation to make sure it's going to be accurate, well written. You're not changing the lore to make it seem like some sort of really bad fan fiction. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I really love this movie. I really love Silent Hill, obviously, and a lot of weird, nerdy, underground shit. Well, it used to be underground. I mean, back in the day, that's what I really find funny about all this. Last comments about all this is, back in the day, when Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2 and all this shit was coming out, it wasn't cool. People made fun of you for playing video games back then. And something as weird as Silent Hill, the only people that I knew that played the game when it came out, like I did, were my weird comic book collector friends and other kids that played and had Manhunt. You know, it's like, back then it was way harder to find friends that would, or people that would actually be like, yeah, I played this game and it was fucking awesome, and not feel like it was a slide, had to make a slide comment to you and be a fucking jackass because you liked a fucking horror video game and you played video games. Anyway, I'm glad things have changed, at least that far. I'm glad Silent Hill, especially Silent Hill 2, is getting its just desserts finally. I would love to see the same with Resident Evil Code Veronica. I know a lot of people fucking hate that game, but there's also a lot of people, as myself, that fucking adore Resident Evil Code Veronica. So, I hope it happens. Those are my thoughts. A lot of side tangents. It's Friday. My mind's a little fried, but I hope you have a good rest of the night. This is Forrest. This is Retro or Die. Go watch Silent Hill again. Later.